Alright, sports fans, I'm back. This is going to be my free agency video. The reason I didn't make one originally about free agency is because it played out pretty much the way I thought it would. And I knew a lot of Raider fans would be disappointed when they started talking about Ndamukong Suh. I was a little bit surprised that the Raiders didn't put it out there like that, but maybe that was, in their way, kind of a PR thing. Because frankly, I never, ever expected Ndamukong Suh to sign with the Raiders. He would have been a great Raider. I look forward to him playing with us, but I never anticipated that they would actually be able to sign him. And a lot of it has nothing to do with the Raiders themselves. Sometimes, guys, you have to realize these are real human beings. They have lives. So a lot of times their decisions come with a lot of human stuff. And Ndamukong Suh was just one of those players. I mean, he went to Miami. Anyone who's been in Miami, it's a great place, a lot of stuff to do. Weather's always good, so on and so forth. And that has nothing to do with whether the team is winning or not. If he had gone to a team that was actually a competitive, winning team, I could put a little bit more on it. But he went to Miami. Miami hasn't been good for a while. And at the end of the day, the Raiders actually offered him the same, if not more money than Miami did. I saw an interview with Reggie after Ndamukong Suh signed with Miami, and the reporter asked Reggie whether the Raiders were in contention, and Reggie said yes. But I don't think Reggie actually understood the question. I think when Reggie said yes, he meant that the Raiders were in contention in terms of we offered, that the Raiders actually offered Ndamukong Suh as much as anybody did. And they did. But the fact that Ndamukong Suh never even visited with the Raiders lets you know that he had no intention of signing with the Raiders. And any interest that he promoted that he had in the Raiders was actually more of a negotiating tool on his part to get his money up. And I can't be mad at the guy for getting paid, and I can't share other people's disappointment that he didn't come here because, like I said, I never thought he was going to come here. The time and the way in which the Raiders will end up signing a player of Ndamukong Suh's magnitude is the point at which the Raiders become a really good team. And for people who think that relates to the stadium and all this and all that, okay, whatever. But the fact is, John Gruden didn't have a problem winning, and he played in the same Ragged Stadium. As far as the players who are on the roster now, the players from last year, not the players who were just signed, but the players from last year, Tony Sperano said something I thought was interesting. He talked about the fact that the Raiders, and I don't remember if he was talking about second-year players also, but he was certainly talking about the rookies he went and signed. I think he was talking about the first and second-year players on the Raiders roster. Played over 1,000 snaps and played more snaps than any other group of young players on any other team in the league, which is a good thing for a developing team or for a team that you're trying to develop. The other side of that is that you have that many young players playing, and they're playing in a system, but the system changes again, which means that the growth that they should have had playing with the continuity and the growth they should have had playing in our system sort of gets thrown out the window. So I'm glad they got that playing time that's good for their development, but it's not as good as it could have been because the entire coaching staff has changed again. TJ Carey is one of those players, and he certainly showed that he can play in the NFL, and he's a competitor, and he may start this year, but I'll use him as an example because he was such a low draft pick, and he came out and he actually performed well. and we all appreciate that. But I think at the end of the day, he's a nickel corner. He's a guy who will be excellent to be your third cornerback, and probably shouldn't be your starter or your second quarterback. And this is no shade on him in any regards whatsoever. But when you have a team as young as with as many young players as the Raiders have, and they play that many snaps, you can say, okay, this is a good player, or he really showed a lot of progress. But if you have a player, it doesn't matter. You can't make a judgment that he is that good because the offense didn't perform well, the defense performed well in spots. And so if it wasn't a great offense, it wasn't a great defense, the team didn't have a winning record, then can you really say this player or that player was actually that good? Back to free agency. The free agents that they signed, and I hope you guys got a chance to watch Natalie Shields' video. He really broke down exactly what Reggie McKenzie is trying to do and what Reggie McKenzie is doing, which is building through the draft. And at this point, they're using free agents to fill spots to build depth on the team. And at the end of the process, Reggie would like to have a team stocked full of players that the Raiders drafted. And it's as simple as that. For him to go out and for him to be able to go out and sign people who are going to start for the team is going to be helpful in the present day. And it might actually make them a competitive team under Jack Del Rio. This is what we all hope. But at the end of the day, he wants a team stocked full of players that he and his staff have selected through the draft and through undrafted free agents. The free agents on this team will not make up, at the end of the day, the body of the team. Now, that said, it's important that we actually have a staff that knows what they're doing from top to bottom in terms of picking talent and nurturing that talent. And there's another thing I want to talk about, which is when people use this term draft bust. Well, if you see players in college play and those players get drafted, 99% of them are talented players. They played a college career. There's enough tape on them. We see the body of their work. They're fast, they're big, they're strong. If they fail in the NFL, a lot of that has to do with coaching. Either they didn't get the right coaching or they were not in the right situation to get the coaching for what they needed. It's just like any job that anyone would have. If you find yourself in a situation where your management is terrible, or the staff around you is terrible, or plain and simply, the person who hired you and the person who trained you are not the same person, and maybe the person who hired you is not liked by the person who trains you, and you get sabotaged. But any number of things can happen. But like I said, when you have guys coming out of college, they've already established that they are elite athletes. And so for a lot of these guys you see come out, they just ended up, if they're a bust, they ended up with the wrong team. They ended up with a bad coaching staff, or there was too much turnover, or the people around them, any number of things. It's just not on that player that they were not able to be successful. Jack Del Rio. Fingers crossed, and to me, he looks like the right guy at the right time for this job. Very serious person, and he'll have them headed in the right direction. As much as he has Reggie's ear, or as much as Jack Del Rio has Mark Davis's ear, all the better, because I think Jack's going to do a good job, and I think he knows what he's doing. Related to free agency, for the most part, I like the players that they picked up, and it's easy enough to see how they fit into the puzzle. For us to get what could potentially be a Pro Bowl center, outstanding. The issue I have with it is, or not the issue, the caution I have with it is that the offensive line is a unit. And so, regardless of how good an individual player is, it's only when players play together on the offensive line that they actually become an effective unit. So let's hope that that process doesn't take too long, but it's gonna take time. Hopefully, the off-season workouts they do, the mini camps they have, the preseason, we'll get a chance to look at them and see what they look like. Because the fact is, in the NFL, the number one the number one indicator of how good a team is, the number one indicator of that team's success is literally the offensive line. Literally. Team doesn't have a good offensive line, not going to be a good team. Team has a good offensive line, that team has a chance to compete. Team has a great offensive line, going to be a great team. Another player who we didn't sign, who a lot of fans wanted the Raiders to sign, and forgive me, his name escapes me right now, the linebacker who had the domestic violence charges against him. Okay. Outstanding player who maybe deserves a second chance, but at the end of the day, he deserves a second chance somewhere else, not the Raiders. And this is why I say this. Raider great wide receiver Fred Blitnikoff lost a daughter to domestic violence. There's now a foundation where they raise money for victims of domestic abuse. And so the Raiders are very involved with that and concerned about that. And Mark Davis has made the statement that anyone with those issues surrounding them, that he would not consider signing them. And he's hard and fast about that, which I understand. I don't necessarily agree with, but I understand. And the reason I say I don't agree is because situations are different. This is not a defense of anyone's abuse of anybody, but situations are different. And so sometimes it validates looking into it. And undoubtedly the Raiders did. The situation with this guy who, like I said, I'm sorry, his name escapes me right now, but his situation was horrific and absolutely over the top. And no, he should not have been signed with the Raiders. If only for those reasons, no, he should not have been brought in. That should not be something that the fans should have to deal with. It shouldn't be something that the players have to deal with. That shouldn't have to be something that Mark Davis or Reggie McKenzie have to address. He should not have been signed. His situation was horrific. And the reason I said that they have to be, that I feel that they should be considered case by case is because the laws are different everywhere, and policing is different everywhere. And frankly, I've seen people catch cases for things where the charge was not merited. Small example, unrelated to domestic violence, to just the law, is if you are caught urinating in public in 48 states, you will have to register as a sex offender for urinating in public. I wouldn't want the Raiders to have to not sign a guy because he urinated in the public. Maybe that's just me, but I can live with a guy who, got caught short in public.